Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I am your host, Sergeant John Perrine from the Public Information Office out of the Indianapolis District. The Indiana State Police Roadshow is brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. For more information about our sponsor, you can visit them at www.indianasfinest.com. Our guests today, both from the Emergency Management Agency of the IMPD Homeland Security Division.
Bureau.
Almost had it. Cassandra Buster and Kim Douglas. Thank you very, very much for being on.
Thank you for having us.
So we're here today to talk about CERT. And you're going to not only educate them, you're going to educate me a little about what CERT is. And it's the Community Emergency Response Team here in Marion County in Indianapolis. And essentially your goal is to prepare and educate citizens about emergency response.
Yes. So the Community Emergency Response Team originated in the 80s in California after a large earthquake, and responders were not able to arrive on scene and help the citizens in a timely manner. So they wanted a way to educate citizens on how to respond until they can arrive. So FEMA in 1993 took the idea and implemented it across the United States. So what the program is about is we prepare citizens on how to be prepared if a disaster happens, either man-made or natural, and how to respond and whenever an incident happens and first responders are overwhelmed. So what we teach is the basic overview of the program, fire safety, disaster medical, and an organizational structure. What the structure is ran off the incident command system. So members in the community, if there's a disaster in their area, they're able to organize and shut off electricity, respond to light fires, and do medical triage until first responders can arrive on scene.
Very cool. So what types of people are you guys getting responses from that says, hey, we want you to come in and teach us? I mean, if people who volunteer their time for these types of things, obviously, but what kinds of groups request this information?
Well, we reach out through different types of media to bring people into our classes. So it's anybody in the community, whatever their profession may be, they come to us through our media saying, hey, I want to take this class. So right now we have 9 classes scheduled for this year, and we usually train 200 to 250 people a year in this training, and we also provide private classes. So any business that may want to have their employees trained, we certainly go out and do that as well. So we reach out mainly through media to get the word out that we're having these classes.
Great. And I've worked in some rural counties throughout my career, and I can tell you as a first responder, we heavily rely on EMA in some areas, maybe more so than here, but they are fantastic when they do have just enough knowledge to help us out when we need that additional manpower. And so that's essentially what you guys are saying is come out, we're going to teach you. And in the event of emergency, not only maybe can you help first responders, but more importantly, you're going to be able to help yourself, help your families, your neighbors, your communities. And so that's what this is about, is knowing how to respond. Am I right?
Exactly.
Yes, and that's one of the main things is whenever a disaster happens, they need to help themselves, their families, and then go out into the community and help their neighbors. It's really important to have a plan in place. So every family should have a disaster plan in place, and we teach those skills of having that plan.
Yeah, so, it seems like tornadoes in Indiana. We're coming up on the season of tornadoes. Although the metro area isn't known to have a lot of tornadoes, it's not impossible, and it could happen. And so something so simple as preparing for a tornado for your family and your community and having those conversations.
Yes, it is, yes. We do have tornadoes, especially go out through the east side of town. We've had 2 over the last several years. And so we like to prepare the neighborhoods and the residents in those neighborhoods how to deal with that because first responders, like we said, are not always going to be first on scene. So if we can teach them how to sustain their neighborhoods until first responders gets there, it only betters the community and the neighborhood.
Yeah, and I think, so what are some of the key first few things, and let's just say we have a natural disaster of whatever type, what are some of the key things that people should know that the first thing you need to be thinking?
the first thing they need to be thinking about is their safety, their family safety. Are they safe? Is their home safe? And then after they discover that their family and their home is safe, then they can go out and concentrate on their neighborhood. Making sure everybody's out of their homes if need be. If somebody's injured or trapped in the debris, then those are some of the things that they can help with. And that's within the first 10 minutes of the disaster, again, when first responders are not there. So we could save lives by being able to get people out from underneath rubble, those types of things.
Yeah, so, and I can tell you as a first responder, if you do find somebody that's trapped, but they're okay, you're able to communicate with them, maybe that's time to wait for some sort of rescue, because you could make it worse if you start digging through that rubble. You could cause a collapse. So if you're able to communicate somebody who's trapped in a basement, per se, and you know, they're able to communicate, they just can't get out, maybe you should communicate to actual professionals that can come in and rescue, because that type of a rescue would be coordinated and take a long time.
We teach light search and rescue,
Yeah.
and we teach damage assessments. So they are able to look at the house and see if it's safe to go in or if it's not safe to go in. So we do teach them what to look for before they go in.
And so what happens once law enforcement and first responders start arriving on scene? Then what role does the emergency management at that point take?
So whenever responders arrive on scene, we document everything as a CERT team. So we teach them how to document on 214s from FEMA, and they can relay that information over to first responders as they arrive. Let them know who's trapped in what building, where a major fire is, and then also where the triage area is. And also during the triage area, they tag victims as, you know, what they are, if it's immediate or if it's just a minor injury.
Now, do you find that you have people on these teams, per se, that have specialized trainings, nurses, other first responders that maybe hold a different role somewhere else? Do they hold different roles within the CMA structure?
They do. We have people, we have attorneys, we have nurses, we have doctors that take this training, and they participate in their neighborhoods. So they come from all walks of life, which is an advantage to us, because then we have the knowledge out there that the neighborhoods are going to need when there's a disaster.
And so our show spreads across the state of Indiana. So if somebody isn't in Indianapolis, but they say, hey, you know what, this sounds like something I'd like to do, what advice would you give to somebody in a rural county in Indiana listening?
I would say contact our local EMA, our fire department, because there are several CERT organizations throughout the state. So just contact someone in their area to see what kind of program they have established there.
Now, do you guys have any age or physical restrictions or anything from somebody who wants to participate?
We like to say there's a place for everyone in CERT. So age limit, we like to stay at 14 because some of the material, they need to be able to understand the material. So age 14 is usually our cutoff for children, but we have a place in CERT for everyone. So if it's just administrative work they want to do, that's fine. If they do want to get into search and rescue, that's fine too.
That brings up a cool point, because when you're 14 or 15, maybe you're choosing that you want to be a first responder, a fireman, or whatever that may be. This might be a great opportunity for you to get some firsthand experience or training before you're of age to do anything, really.
Yes, and then also they can use the skills in their school. So if a disaster happens during school hours, they're able to help their students and their fellow peers as well.
What a fantastic idea. I didn't think about it, but I would venture to guess that if you marketed this toward that age group, I think you would probably get a lot of participation, because that's something that I didn't think of or didn't know ahead of time. So in other words, this training is open to anybody, and you really wouldn't turn anybody down, of course. But so if you don't know, if you feel like you just have a helping heart and there's just something you want to do, then they can come and take your class.
They can, yes.
And do you guys actually have physical training as well, or is it mainly just classroom setting?
And we have the classroom setting, and then at the end of the 21-hour training, we do a simulation. So it's a disaster simulation. It teaches them to utilize the skills that they learn.
Wow. So this 21 hour, is that over a period of 3 or 4 days?
Well, we do it a variety of ways throughout the year. We'll do it a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll do it 3 Saturdays in a row, and then we'll do it over an 8-week time period throughout the weekday. So everybody's able to, attend one class according to their schedule.
And are all the classes the same, or are they usually different?
They're all the same. They're all structured the same.
So once you go through the 21-hour class, you're essentially certified.
Yes.
And then, do you have to participate in something regularly?
Well, after they're trained, we have a lot of other advanced trainings so they could continue to refresh on their skills. We have volunteer work throughout the community. We work a lot of races doing traffic and crowd control. We will work the mini marathon, and also we will work the Guys Half Marathon as volunteers.
Good. That's awesome. So you guys obviously work closely with IMPD and IFD probably, and some of the other rescuers throughout the city. And it sounds like they usually to supplement manpower even on non-emergency things. But it's always nice to have you guys around, because if there is an emergency in one of those big events where there's a lot of people, we need all hands on deck, and that's what this is about.
Yes, and we also work with the local city. So we help in Lawrence a lot. They utilize us often. There was a fire that we helped with the sheltering in. So we just do a variety of volunteer work whenever needed.
It sounds like just a lot of good people doing a lot of good work, and that's what great communities are made of. And a lot of people don't quite know what to do. I want to do something great for my community or for my city. I'm maybe too old to be a first responder, or it just never panned out for me. It'd be an opportunity for them to reach out. So how would they get a hold of you if they wanted to get more information?
So if they wanted to reach out to us, they could email me. And also we do have a Facebook page they could go on. It's Indy CERT. So
So Facebook is
Yes.
Indy CERT,
yeah, Indy CERT.
INDYCERT, right? Or they could get you on email. Do you want to give your email address?
Yes, it's Cassandra, KASSANDRA .Buster, BUSTER at Indy.gov.
There you go, Cassandra.Buster at Indy.gov for
Yes.
more information. And maybe they don't live in the Indianapolis area and they just say, hey, this sounds really interesting to me. I'd imagine if they emailed you, you could get them connected with the right person
Yes,
somewhere
I
in
will
the state.
help them.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
So, again, we're coming up on a season where weather is going to be the story in the next few weeks. What about these tornado sirens that you wanted to talk about?
Okay, so the IMPD Homeland Security Bureau, throughout the month of March, we're notifying citizens about Severe Weather Week. And one of the initiatives we're taking on is our siren systems. We set them off on the first Friday of every month. So on April 5th, we encourage citizens to listen for the sirens in their area. If they're malfunctioning, we like for them to report it to us. And they can report it by calling 317-327-3900. If they receive a recording, they can leave their name, their phone number, and the location of the siren. So that way we could go out and we could fix the sirens that are malfunctioning.
Now, do you know of a resource that somebody where they could find out where the sirens are in their neighborhoods? Is there a way they could find that?
Well, right now they could email us at dhs@indy.gov, and we'll provide that information.
Okay, so maybe you're new to a neighborhood, you're not sure if you should be hearing a siren
Yes.
or not. But for in your experience, most people in Indianapolis should be able to hear a siren.
Yes, there are 172 sirens throughout the county, so someone should be able to hear it in their area. And if they're not, then there's probably a malfunction.
And those are tested on the first Friday of every month.
Yes.
At 11 a.m.?
Yes.
So if it's 11 o'clock on the first Friday and you think you should be hearing one and you're not, then they should call or email. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, sometimes I do know that being indoors or around a lot of noise, maybe the siren's a little more distant, you're not going to hear it. But at 11, I would encourage you to step outside
Yes.
and make sure that you can hear that. And if it's not working, let somebody know, because you guys, that's a lot to monitor.
Yes, it is, and we want to make sure that the citizens of Marion County are safe whenever a tornado happens.
And that's the key. And the thing is, we rely so much on technology. If there's a tornado warning, you get an alert on your phone or your TV or your radio. But sometimes all that could fail. All else fails, you listen for the siren.
Yes.
And most communities in the state of Indiana do also participate in that siren as well. So thank you very much. We've been talking with Cassandra Buster and Kim Douglas of the Indiana. Hold on, let me get this right because I don't want to mess it up. The Emergency Management Agency of the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department Homeland Security Bureau. Wow, you guys need a shorter acronym.
That is
But
us.
no, thank you. Your goal is to prepare citizens for emergencies, not just natural disasters, but could be man-made, something like an active shooter, a bomb, or something like that.
Yes.
And you guys actually offer training open to anybody, which is key. Thank you very much. You've been listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. Roadshow out.